everybody, Lord Tremendous here, got a battle report here for you. Battle report number 31, 'tis I, Lord Tremendous of the Ogre Khans versus Cannon of Doom of the Empire of Sonstal. This is actually a hell of a game, as always, but this one has a twist that I think you're either going to really enjoy or really hate. Either way, you're going to feel something, and since most of you are dead inside, this should probably help. So sit back, relax, and get ready to see how this one goes. Here's my list, and for the most part, not a ton has changed. I don't think anything's changed with the characters, just some core stuff, because in this list, this is the first list I've played after the hotfix, where tribesmen lost their heavy armor. So, I still have my lord, my great shaman Skaz. He's a level 4 wizard with the Screaming Swords, Demonic Heart, and the Path of Butchery. For my hero choices, I still have my Khan. He's my BSB, he's got the Flesh Render, Mithril Mail, Talisman of Lesser Shielding, and Rotten Jaw. He's got it all. Next up, I've got my Mammoth Hunter, Lady Elizabeth. She's got a Hunting Spear, and I know that's the default item, it's just I like to point it out. She's got the Axe of Battle, the Armor of Fortune, and the big name Headhunter. And then, of course, I have my Mammoth Hunter number 2, Lord Tremendous. He's got the Ogre Crossbow, the Heart Ripper, Yeti Furs. What else does he have? I gave him the Gem of Dragonfire, I gave him Troll Eater, and he's on his trusty Tusker the War Teddy. Yeah, if you don't kill this guy quick, he's gonna rip your army a new one. Love this guy. For my core, I still have pretty much the same thing. I've still got 7 by Tribesmen, Skaz's Spazzes. It's a full command now with Iron Fists and what do they have? They have the Banner of Discipline. See, the heavy armor is off of them. I have another unit of 7 by Tribesmen, the good old boys. They have full command as well and Iron Fists. Here's one of the few changes. I have a unit of 23 Scraplings now with full command and short bows. I gave them a full command so that they could hold objectives, and I gave them short bows so that they would be useful. They've upped their number by almost double simply because I needed to fill my core tax, and these guys seem to be the best way to do that. For my special choices, I have a unit of 6 by Scrappling Trappers, the Favored Pets. I still have my unit of 6 by Merc Vets, the Storm of Retribution. They still have the same kit. Banner, Musician, Iron Fist, Lethal Strike, Thunderous Charge, and the Banner of Speed. You don't mess with perfection. You just don't. I still have the unit of 4 by Yetis with a unit champion, and this is the unit that Elizabeth joins. I'm toying with tweaking this unit, changing it to something smaller, because really I just need a bunker for Elizabeth to run around in. For my rare choices, I have my Scratapult, and I'm really on the fence with this guy. I don't know if I like him. I know I do. I don't think I like him, but I cannot figure out a better unit for what I need. I need something that's going to tear up rank and file before I get into combat with it so that it's easier for me to tear through them. And this guy can do that. It's just he does it unreliably. He can misfire, which he likes to do all the time. I don't know. Maybe Bombardiers? Maybe I'll give those guys a try again. We'll see. And then I have the badass himself, the Frost Mammoth Rufus. His rider's got a couple of ogre crossbows on him, but who gives a crap? We all came here to see the man, the myth, the legend, Rufus. Love this guy. Alrighty, that's going to do it for my list. I'm going to post my opponent's list, play some music. Feel free to pause it whenever you want in order to see what he took. my spells, which are exactly what you're looking at. And here's deployment. Okay, so my opponent deployed all of his stuff first, so he's going first. So I set up my guys pretty much right across from him. He tried to do a refused flank, and so everything's way over to the left. We didn't even touch the right side of the table. I've got Elizabeth on the far right of my setup, I guess, with her Yetis. They are still proxied. I have ordered some. I'm waiting for them to show up. Leave me alone. The craters in the middle there, we're using that as a field. It's, a minefield. Get it? Anyway, I got my trappers in there just in case anything feels froggy. And you know what? If they're shooting at them and magicking them, they're not magicking anything important. I've got Elizabeth and her Yetis on the right flank. They're going to go through, shoot through the field, dam the dangerous terrain checks, and try to get a hold of whatever she can as quick as she can. I've got the mercs right there in the middle to do the same thing. They're going to shoot up that open terrain and run into whatever they can get a hold of before they get shot to death. I got the Scratapult up on the hill so he can shoot at all the little bitty guys, the infantry across the fields, because that'll be fun. I've got Rufus across the way there, right there. He's in between the mercs and the good old boys, just to make it easier for him to follow them in and hopefully get into combat before he gets shot off the table. There is a cannon and a volley gun on the table, so I'm worried that Rufus isn't going to see life for much longer. Everything else, for the most part, is on the left flank. They're going to shoot forward. The plan is pretty one-dimensional. Shoot forward, get into these guys as quick as I can, because they're going to shoot at me, and I don't like being shot at. The only exception to that, really kind of not really even an exception, is Lord Tremendous behind the wall there. He's going directly after the volley gun. That's his whole plan in life. Get a hold of the volley gun, destroy it, and then see what he can do from there. That's pretty much it for deployment. Here's top of one after movement, and like I said, my opponent went first. His riders on the right flank went into the field. They just walked in. It didn't march, so they didn't have to take any DTs, and they're going to start shooting at my trappers, which, like I said, is fine. If you're shooting at the trappers, you're not shooting at anything important. His captain on a peg is doing the same thing. His riders on the left flank, I think they come up just slightly to shoot at Skaz's Spazzes, and that's it. Everything else of his stayed right where it's at. Nothing happens in his magic phase, so in his shooting phase, that cannon way over there shot my Rufus and did 3 wounds to him, and that hurt. That really hurt. The funny part about this is my opponent was complaining about cannons the entire time, that they're not any good and they're not as good as they used to be. And I agree, the cannons aren't as good as they used to be because the cannons were overpowered back in 8th edition. I think they're doing just fine, and judging by the fact that Rufus has a big hole in his side right now with 3 wounds in 1 round of shooting, I think I'm winning the argument. Then the handgunners, who got the order that gives them 6 inches extra range, shoot at my merc vets and are able to slip a wound through. That sucked. But the fact that they could even shoot them at that distance was impressive. What can you do? That was a hell of a shot. And then over here, the riders open fire with their brace of pistols into my trappers and kill 4 of them, which sucks. The cool part about this is my trappers actually made their 6-up leadership, so the 2 that survived are still there. I'm proud of them. So with that, we go over here to bottom 1 after movement, and mostly due to panic, we just fly forward. With the exception of Skaz's Spazzes, I do charge the riders just to get... I knew they were going to flee. They did, of course. They got away, but it was just, get the hell away from me. And they did. They took off down that way. They more than make it, far away. I think I moved forward like 4 inches. Maybe even less than that. The scraplings, they move up there 4 inches so that they can get in the range of the fleeing riders and maybe take 1 or 2 out. That'd be great. What's it called? The good old boys with my con, they move up. They go around the water so they don't get stuck there and just get shot to pieces before they can actually do anything. Lord Tremendous fires forward his full 16 inches, trying to get as close to the volley gun as humanly possible. As ogrely possible, I apologize. My merc vets and Elizabeth and her Yetis move up 14 inches in order to do some damage there. Also to back up the trappers, because I know it's coming. Rufus goes up behind the merc vets. I didn't have anywhere else to put him, and I want him to be able to shoot both of his crossbows. And the Scratapult moves up just this 6-inch movement or whatever, so that he can fire at the great swords and maybe do some damage. That's it for movement. There's a better picture of the riders running away from Skaz and his spazzes, and you know what? That's just not sitting well with me. During a magic phase, Skaz agrees that that's not okay and fires off Bone Cruncher at him, the big one, and is able to kill 2 of them with the spell. Not enough to lower their leadership by half or anything like that, but enough to make them know that next time they flee, they will pay with their lives. And then, just because I think it's awesome, I fire my scraplings at the riders. I needed 6 to hit for move long range, and they actually are able to kill a guy. Oh, you watch. I'm gonna end up liking scraplings yet. And then right here, not to be outdone, the trappers throw their crap at the riders that were shooting at them and are able to drop one themselves. All in all, impressive shooting considering. And so, since there's still no combat, we go over here to top of 2 after movement. And there's still no combat. His rider unit does rally, turns, and comes back to have some more fun with Skaz and his spazzes. His captain on the Pegasus runs around the side there to play with the Yetis. His other riders turn to get a better shot at the trappers and to redirect me in an unfavorable way if I decide to charge him. And other than that, I don't think there's any movement from his side of the table. There's a better picture of his riders rallying, and that's fine. It makes it easier to kill them this next turn. During his magic phase, he gets aspect at a Hydra off on his BSB, I think. I know he gets one of the aspects off. I think it's on his BSB. The only reason that he wanted to get off is so that he could use the lore attribute and magically move these guys D3 plus 2 inches. He ended up only being able to go 3 inches, so that's where he ended up. Not a huge big deal. Then in shooting, the riders over here open fire on my trappers and finish off the last 2. It was a lot of shots, low toughness, and no armor. It was well played, but that's the trappers' job, is to soak up shots like that so that the rest of the army doesn't have to. Then over here, though, the handgunners open up and shoot and kill a Merc Vet. Just flat out do 3 wounds and kill a Merc Vet. The handgunners are on point this game. I'm not used to them shooting this well. And over here, the volley gun takes aim at Lord Tremendous and just opens up on him, right? I think he did something crazy like, like 16 shots or something. It was amazing. He was at -1 to hit because he did roll a 6. And he ends up getting a handful of wounds through, and I save a bunch, but he still takes 2 wounds. To be honest with you, I didn't think he was going to take any. At worst, I figured he'd take 1, but now that he's half dead, I got a lot of work to do, and I've got half the character to do it with. So, I'm curious to see if my plan's going to be able to come to fruition, because I'm going to charge next turn, take some DTs, and who knows? With still no combat, we go over here to bottom of 2 after movement. And once again, Skaz's Spazzes charge the riders who flee. They don't flee as far, but they flee far enough. Tremendous charges the volley gun, makes it, and passes his DT. Good for them. My Yetis charge the other riders, and they flee, and my Yetis are fine because they're skirmishers. Rufus turns to go give the Pegasus captain something to think about. Rufus is going to shoot at him, maybe kill him, maybe not, but I was also trying to get him out of range of the cannon. I don't think that's even possible, but I figured I'd give it a shot. I really don't want Rufus to die, mostly just because I like him so much. Other than that, the Merc Vets move up their 14 or so that they can in order to try to get closer to the handgunners or the greatswords, whichever they want to charge first. And what's it called? The good old boys move up their 12. The scraplings move up 4. And since Skaz's Spazzes failed their charge, I think they moved up 3 or 4 as well. Other than that, the only thing that moved was my Scratapult. It moved down off the hill there so that the Pegasus captain could not charge him. He can't see past Rufus and he can't see past the hill, so I've saved him for 1 more turn. That's it for movement. There's a better picture of his riders fleeing from Elizabeth, and that was probably smart. There's a better picture of the riders fleeing from Skaz's Spazzes once again. I totally get that. It's a smart way to use these guys. It's going to bog down my big unit for a while, but I don't have any other choice. I got to keep charging them, keep making them flee, and keep shooting and magicking them until they're out of the way so that I can go after bigger and better targets. Nothing else I can do about it. And here's a better picture of Lord Tremendous slamming than a volley gun. I knew I was going to make it. I was pretty confident that even if I rolled snakes, I was going to be able to make this charge, right? But here's what I see. I see it here. I see that he's trying to get his BSB's unit, that big unit of halberdiers, up to get into combat with Lord Tremendous. I don't have a problem with that. I really don't. But here's what I see. Lord Tremendous is going to beat this volley gun to death. Impact hits alone should do it. If not, he's got enough attacks that even if I roll terribly, I should be able to destroy these guys. Then I can overrun, hopefully run into that support unit in front of me of swordsman, because his parent units can't do anything, which is good. And then if his greatsword unit charges me, no matter what happens, unless Lord Tremendous stays, which is unlikely considering, but if he stays, that's fine too. But if he flees, it exposes either the flank or the rear to the good old boys of his great sword unit, or his halberdier unit, whichever charges Lord Tremendous. So I decide in this moment, when I see my charge made and everything like that, that I'm going to try to use Lord Tremendous's bait and see if I can't get a beautiful flank or rear charge for my good old boys. Not the nicest thing in the world I've ever done to Lord Tremendous, but damn it, he's my persona. I can abuse him if I want to. During the magic phase, I ignore the rioters and I throw Bone Crusher at the cannon because I really don't want Rufus to die. And unfortunately, although I did roll a lot of hits, I think I rolled like 8 hits, I only was able to roll 1/6 to do any wounds, which is a damn shame. But it's 1/3 dead, so I'll take it. In shooting, the Scraplings fire at the rioters again and kill another one. They got significantly more shots this time. They were a lot closer. More of them were within 18 inches. But I still needed 6s to hit. So the fact that they did it and the wound got through, I was very proud of these guys. So now the little bastards at half leadership. So I feel pretty good about this. So then my Scratapult takes careful aim at the greatsword unit. It actually does deviate 2 inches to better center on the unit and hits like 30 of them. I think I rolled 30 hits against this unit. So yeah, after done rolling, I didn't roll hot, and my opponent did make some armor saves with the non-lethal strike wounds. 7 greatsword guys die. I'm relatively pleased about that. I'm not going to complain. That was really good. But what my problem with this Scratapult is it's so hot or cold. There's really no lukewarm, you know? There's no consistency with him. I don't know if the Bombardiers will be any better. God knows when I've tried them in the past, they didn't work out for me. But things like this give me hope for the Scratapult, but then at the same time, this is like turn 2, turn 3, and it's the first actual hit I've had with this damn thing. So, I don't know. I'm still on the fence about it. Then we go into combat, and like I said, impact hits alone are enough to destroy the volley gun, which I'm fine with. Everyone makes their panic check, just in case you were wondering. And then Tremendous overruns into the swordsman, makes it, as you can see. And the funny part was about this is we had some people watching the game, and one of them goes, "Well, why would you do that? Now his great swords can charge you in the flank." And I'm like, "Bring it on! I'm not worried." And I wasn't. I was like, "Come on, bring it on! I don't even care," because if Tremendous gets charged in the flank, like I said, he's going to lose. He should break. Maybe he'll get away, maybe he won't, but that unit has hatred. The Preacher is in there, so he has to pursue if I break. And that's what I figure. I figure he can't kill me. I'm just too well armed and armored. But, you know, and I would probably call it a challenge, to be perfectly honest. Like, if there's enough characters, then I'll just call it a challenge. And as long as it's not the priest, I'm sorry, that takes the challenge or whatever it is that gives him hatred, I don't have to worry about killing him. So I was looking forward to seeing what was going to happen here. I don't like using him as bait, but what better option did I have? So with that over, we go over here to top of 3 after movement, and there's a little bit. His great swords take the bait, charge Tremendous into flank. I'm very excited about this because I need to know if this is going to work out for me. Am I smart? Am I stupid? I don't know yet. I'm going to find out. His rioter on the left flank does not rally, bounces through the cannon makes its panic check. He actually rolls snakes for it, so it wasn't even close. His captain on a Pegasus makes his leadership check, is able to march over Rufus to look at the Scratapult, which makes sense. His other unit of riders on the right flank there rally and then move over to get in the way of the Merc Vets, which is fine. I will charge those guys and possibly overrun into the rear of the Greatswords. That would be great. It's unlikely, but I'll take what I can get. And other than that, I think the only thing that really moves is his, what's it called? His altar, his divine altar, or whatever it is. It moves around just a little bit to get everything distracting, or give everything in combat distracting. Other than that, I think that's about it. There's a better picture of his greatsword unit slamming in the Lord Tremendous, and God, I hope this works out. And there's a better picture of his rioters rallying on the right flank. And that's where his other rider ends up after fleeing almost off the table. During the magic phase, he ends up getting aspect of the mana core off on one of his characters over here. I cannot remember which. I wanted to stop it. I think I tried to stop it and I failed. So it goes off, and that's actually pretty bad. That was not my plan. If Tremendous dies, all this bait was for nothing. I need him to either stay or not die. I need him to not die. I need him to either stay or break, and so that the greatswords have to overrun. Or I have to pursue. That's because hatred makes so you have to pursue, and that's really what I'm banking on here. Using his aspect from the spell that he got off, he backs that unit up a little bit again. Honestly, I don't know why, but he does, so be it. That's why I would let it go off, because he rolled boxcars on it, and I actually rolled 5 dice and ended up rolling 2 6s. I wanted to see him blow up his character. I wanted to see him blow up the unit a little bit, so I let it go off. Ends up rolling a miscast 10, and he loses 3 wizard levels. So that caster is no longer a caster. He has effectively destroyed his wizard. I don't get any points for it, but at least he won't be casting any spells during his magic phase for the rest of the game. And then in the shooting phase, his cannon takes aim at Rufus, fires, and kills him. He did shoot at him last turn. He hit him, but he rolled a 1 to wound, which, of course, he complained about. But, he's one of the Empire players that are used to cannons being the I win button. I hit you automatically, I almost never fail to wound, and I do d6 wounds because fuck all. Well, he had to earn it, and Empire players aren't 100% used to that, so he got Rufus in the end. It took 3 rounds, which I know is inconvenience, but you know what? He got him, and my heart broke. And I laid Rufus down, and he's sleeping. He's just sleeping. Over here's the real Greek tragedy, though, okay? The handgunners, I guess emboldened by seeing Rufus splattered all over the hillside, they open fire on my Merc Vets, and he rolls so far out of the box, it has now got no corners. It's a round friggin' box. Unbelievable. Kills 4 of my Merc Vets and leaves a wound on the one that's still alive. I do pass my panic check, but holy crap! The handgunners have just neutered my most dangerous unit. I was stunned. That was a hell of a roll. And then in combat over here, it actually works out the way I had hoped. Let me rephrase that. It worked out. I end up in a challenge, I think, with his general. Whoever got the aspect of the mana core, I end up in a challenge with him. So my impact hits are negated. He does 1 wound. I think he either did 1 wound to me, or I took a wound when I fled through the ruins. But I lose this combat by 5 in the end. I think I lose by 5. Not 100% on that. But I know I had a couple of rolls in order to try to stay. I failed them both. Break. Go through the ruins, get away. And at first, my opponent wasn't going to pursue with the great swords. He was going to pursue with the swordsman and just call it good. And I was like, damn. But then I remembered, I was like, no, you have to because you have hatred. And he goes, oh, crap. So he pursues with the great swords and decides to restrain with the swordsmen. And he did. He made the swordsman leadership no problem. The great swords pursue. They fail to catch me. Tremendous gets away. And now the good old boys have a beautiful flank charge on the great swords. It's wonderful. I am so pleased that that worked. I was very proud of myself. I didn't say anything because I didn't want to brag in the middle of the game because it's kind of a dick move. But not that I'm, past that or beyond that or above that, but just didn't feel proper. And so Tremendous got away. He does only have 1 wound left. And but I've got a beautiful flank opened up in the great swords, and that should really help me make up all my points if it all works out the way I think it's going to. So we go here to bottom of 3 after movement, and can you believe it? I charged my good old boys into the flank of the greatswords, who stayed because fleeing would be suicide. The remaining merc vet, the loner who's bleeding from the jaws, charges the riders. I believe they stand and shoot, but they don't hurt him. And I think Elizabeth and the Yetis charge the handgunners and fail. I roll really poorly. So yeah, that sucks. Other than that, though, the Scratapult moves back his 6 inches up against the hill there so that the captain on a peg can't see me, and he can't, thank God. Skaz's Spazzes move up pretty fast in order to get into countercharge range. Lord Tremendous rallies, and then the Scraplings, since they have nothing to shoot at, move up their full 8 inches. Other than that, everything else I have is dead or in combat. There's been a picture of Elizabeth failing her charge, which kind of broke my heart. You can also kind of see the Mercvet making it into the riders, so the picture's good and bad. He did stand and shoot, and I think he put either 1 or 2 wounds on my Yetis. Charge, long range, skirmishers, and soft cover. It was hard for him to hit me, but he still managed to put 2 wounds through. That handgunner unit is dangerous. And there's a better picture of the good old boys making it into the flank of the great swords. I cannot believe that worked out. And Lord Tremendous rallying and turning to face the swordsman because, yeah, he can take the swordsman. During the magic phase, things really go my way. I get regen off on the good old boys just in case, I want them to have some sort of save, because now tribesmen only have a 5-up. And then I was able to get the boosted version of Brain Slurper, I think it is, off on the great swords, which means they have to take a panic check immediately, which they pass immediately because they're in combat and immune to psychology. However, I did the boosted so that the good old boys had hatred against this unit. Oh, baby. I am not making any friends with this combo, but I am too pleased with this outcome to let it pass. So we go into combat, and my Mercvet is able to kill 3 of the riders. Not all of them, but he was able to kill 3, which is pretty flippin' good. In return, he takes no damage. He wins this combat by 5, I believe. 3 wounds, banner, and charge to nothing. They break, and they get away. You'll see it in a minute in the next picture. I do try to pursue. We just both roll really low. Unfortunately, he rolled slightly higher than me. In this combat over here, my unit obliterates the great swords and takes no damage in return. As you can see, there's maybe 13 great swords left. Well, maybe 11 great swords left and a couple of characters, or 1 character. I think I killed the one that I was in base-to-base with. So, yeah, they just decimate this unit. What I forgot about is that great swordmen are stubborn. Well, they got bodyguard, and there's a character in the back there, so that he didn't break. So, they're either naturally stubborn or they have bodyguard and there was a character in there. Either way, they were good. They stuck. However, we looked up the rule, and apparently if you're stubborn, that doesn't matter for combat reform when you lose combat. And since he lost combat by a truckload, there was no leadership check he could make in order to turn and face, which means I still have him in the flank, which I was not expecting at all because, as you can see, this opens me up to a counter charge. I thought the unit was going to break, I was going to run it down, or it would flee off the table, and I'd end up in combat with the other units. I forgot that they would be stubborn, that they had bodyguard, whatever it was, and it never even occurred to me that he wouldn't be able to make a combat reform, turn to face me, and block the counter charges from the halberdiers and the swordsman unit. So now I'm worried. Now I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to deal with this, because if either of those bricks charge me, I'm screwed. So we go over to top of 4 after movement, and I'm fully expecting him to charge me, and he doesn't. His halberdier unit and his swordsman unit stay put. The swordsman unit that are looking at Lord Tremendous stay put. Nothing. I was stunned. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I really couldn't believe that happened. Really, the only movement that occurs is his rider that was fleeing from my Mercvet rallies. His captain on a peg jumps up on the hill to stare at my what's it called, Scratapult, and at this point I'm fine with that. And that's really about it. Everything else, I think his rider on the left flank rallied as well, but that's it. Yeah, his rider over here on the left flank rallied. Again, I think he rolled like a 2 or a 3 on 2d6 and rallied him, which is almost exactly what he needed. It was impressive. There's a better picture of the other rider rallying, needing half his friggin' leadership. Again, very impressive. So we go into his magic phase, nothing happens. So we go into shooting, and again, the damn handgunners that Elizabeth and the Yeti should be mauling right now open fire on my poor Merc vet, and they do like 6 or 7 wounds to him, and I don't save any of them. And he dies like 3 times over. Those handgunners were definitely the MVP of this game so far. Couldn't believe how good they did. So we go over to combat over here, and I'm able to take out 4 or 5 more of these guys. It was actually quite fun because, well, I'm sorry, fun isn't the word I meant to use. It was difficult because now I don't have hatred anymore because just it doesn't work, and he's distracting. So it's a little rough for me to hit him. I need 5s, and I'm not rolling a whole lot. Not to mention, when I do wound him, he's still got, I think, a 5-up armor, and he's rolling high right now. So I'm able to kill 4 or 5 of his guys. He's not able to do anything to me. I win this combat by a lot. He makes his break check because he's still stubborn. However, he fails to make his leadership check to turn and face me, and so I'm still looking at his flank. And I'm still worried because, as you can see in this picture very well, his halberdiers and his swordsmen can charge me, and that's gonna suck if they do. So with that over, we go over here to bottom of 4 after movement, and tremendous charges into the swordsman unit on the left flank because he can, and he's going for it, so he does, and he makes it. Duh. Elizabeth and her Yetis charge the handgunners who stand and shoot, kill one of the Yetis, and then, of course, put another wound onto another one, but we make it. That's what's important. And the rest of my stuff, I didn't have anything to charge with Skaz and the Spazzes. There was just no room anywhere for me to charge anything. So they just kind of stayed put and waited. I didn't know what else to do with them, to be perfectly honest. The Scraplings, they move up about 4 inches because I want to shoot at his halberdier unit. And hopefully do a little bit of damage. I don't know what else to do. My Scratapult turns to face his captain on a Pegasus just because I don't want him to have a flank or rear charge on me. And let's face it, my damn Scratapult has not hit but once this whole game. It's not going to start. And if it does hit anything, it's probably going to hit my damn good old boys, and that would suck. I'll roll nothing but 6s. And that was really it. Movement is really just coming down to charges and getting into combat. There's a better picture of Elizabeth and her Yetis making it into the handgunners, and that's really good. I am looking forward to opening up this can of whoop ass on these guys because they have been too damn good this game. And as you can see, one of my Yetis didn't make it. He is resting comfortably in the minefield. There's been a picture of tremendous slamming into the swordsman, and that's going to be a lot of fun because even though they have hand weapon shields and they get that parry or whatever, doesn't matter. I have the Heart Ripper. I always hit on a 3-up, so I'm not concerned. That's going to be a lot of fun. Now, my Tusker is going to end up hitting on like 4s or 5s, but what can you do? His main power there is just the stomps and stuff like that. Looking forward to that. Plus, they have to take fear checks, so maybe I'll get lucky. During the magic phase and a desperate gambit to take out that damn cannon, I fire off another Bone Crusher. I get like 9 hits. My opponent doesn't even try to stop. He could care less. I get like 9 hits, and again, just one more wound through on the cannon. I am nickel and diming the hell out of that cannon. Nothing happens in shooting, so we go straight into combat, and Elizabeth and her Yetis do amazing. They beat the piss out of this unit. They are steadfast, and I do believe they make their check, which sucks, but at least they're not shooting anymore, and the majority of them are dead. Absolutely outstanding. Not the best outcome, but I'll take it. Then over here, I'm kind of running out of guys that can attack. I am able to kill, I think, 3 or 4 more of the greatswords in return. I do take some wounds. I think they're able to kill one of my guys, which sucks a little bit, but what can you do? And I still win this combat. They still make their stubborn check. However, they do not make their check to turn and face me. Even with the reroll, the BSB is right there. But again, if he charges me with either or both of those bricks, I am screwed. And then over here, of course, Tremendous beats the crap out of the swordsman, killing 9, I think. Doesn't matter. They don't do anything to him, and they're steadfast and make their break check no problem. So with combat over, we go over here to top of 5 after movement, and there is some. My opponent charges with both his halberdier unit and his swordsman unit into my good old boys. I knew it was coming. I was surprised it didn't happen last turn, or his last turn, but it finally did, and it sucks. I was so hoping his greatswords were going to turn to face or be broke. I thought I was doing so good, and I forgot they're stubborn. And here I am about to pay for it. Also, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention this. In the last round of combat, Elizabeth did break the unit of handgunners, ran them down off the board, and she and her Yetis are off the table right now. See, as you can see in the top middle of the picture there. Back to this movement phase, his Captain on a Pegasus charges my Scratapult, and the hell with that thing, I really don't care. And I don't think there's any movement other than that. There's a better picture of his Captain on a Pegasus slamming into my Scratapult, and whatever. I kind of hope he kills the damn thing. And there's a semi-better picture of all of his units slamming into my good old boys. As you can see, due to the terrain and everything like that, we couldn't balance everything. I don't have that tray magnetized yet. I have since fixed that. So everything was falling. So where that pinnacle of dice, the 3 little dice are right in front of the Great Swordsman, we know that's where my BSB and my first tribesman there were in base to base with the what's it called? Great Sword unit that's flanked. It was all I could do. It was all he could do. We tried our best. They're all in there. Trust me. Nothing happens in magic or shooting, so we go into combat, and his captain is able to do 2 wounds to my Scratapult. My Scratapult does nothing to him. He wins this combat. I break, but I get away. Better than nothing, I guess. Maybe he can rally and just stave off the inevitable. Over here, it's bad. It's not super bad, but it's pretty bad. I lose a tribesman. I don't do a ton of damage to this guy, to this unit, because I stop rolling 5s. His damn distracting thing is there, and I need 5s to hit pretty much everything. I'm not rolling well. I do minimal damage. I lose this combat by 4, I believe. 4 or 5. I take my break checks, and I fail. And I break, and I get run down. Couldn't believe it. All those points, the shift. What I thought was going to be a beautiful victory, a sweeping victory, turned into a rout. But wait, the worst isn't even over yet. Both my general's unit and the scraplings were within 6 inches of a unit that broke from combat. My general's unit rolls a 12 and then an 11 to flee. The scraplings failed their leadership 6 and fled about 10 inches. Oh my god, I lost all my tribesmen, my BSB, and Skaz in 1 round of combat. Oh no, I lost like 1,200 points, maybe 1,400 in 1 combat. Oh my god, I was laughing. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was laugh or cry, and I'm not much of a crier. Oh no. So yeah, how's that for a swing, huh? Over here, though, Tremendous kills like 5 guys, and they're steadfast and stay, or they make their check, whatever it is, and we're still in combat, but at least he didn't break and run off the table. So we go over here to bottom of 5 after movement, and nothing rallies. The scraplings continue to flee, and the Scratapult also continues to flee. Neither go off the table yet, but it's just a matter of time. Elizabeth and her Yetis come back on the table and start moving towards the altar, because I'll be damned if that thing's going to live until the end of the game. And Tremendous is already in combat, so I don't move him at all. That's it for movement. There's been a picture of all the scraplings and Scratapult fleeing in opposite directions, and you know what? At this point, I can't blame them. Nothing happens in magic, because all my magic is dead or fleeing home. So we go into shooting, and Elizabeth chucks her spear into the Divine Altar and does a wound. Take that, you piece of filth. So we go into combat over here, and Tremendous is able to kill all but 4 of the sword and board guys. They take their break check. They break, I pursue, and I don't know if I caught them or what, but they go off the table, and so does Tremendous. Going after him, he's off the tables, turns around right there, he'll show up at the bottom of 6. His cannon fails his panic check and cowers, so he won't be doing anything for the rest of the game. And the one remaining rider also panics and flees off the table. So 2 for 1. Not quite as spectacular as what my opponent did with all my army stuff, but I'll take what I can get at this point because holy crap. So here we are in top of 6, and really the only movement is his guy. His captain on a Pegasus charges the scraplings who flee the F off the table. He does not try to redirect in the Discratapult. Honestly, I think he felt sorry for me. His 2 big bricks that are remaining, the Halberdiers and the Swordsmen, they move up. So that Lizadeth can't charge him next turn or something like that. I'm not 100%. But if they move up, that's really about it. And then his one remaining rider on the right flank moves up in front of Lady Elizabeth and the Yetis in an effort to stop them from charging his Divine Altar. The thing about that is, and I went and checked, Elizabeth can charge out of the unit and get right past his rider, so I wasn't worried about that at all. I'm going to get a hold of that damn altar. I might not kill it, but it's going to know I was there. But that's it for movement. There's a better picture of the scraplings being escorted off the table by the captain on a Pegasus. During the shooting phase, his rider fires away at my Yetis and is able to slip under the wound through on one. Not enough to kill him, but enough to let him know he was there, and I'm not happy about it. And with that, we go over here to bottom of 6 after movement. My Scratapult does not rally and flees off the table, as you can see. Elizabeth charges out of the Yetis and slams into the damn Divine Altar, and I hope that thing goes to the deepest level of hell as soon as possible. Tremendous comes back on the table to look at the cannon. I'm hoping I can crossbow shot and kill it, and the Yetis stay right where they are because there's no reason to overrun, or to charge because, well, actually they can't because Elizabeth charged out of the unit. But really, that's it. There's a better picture of Elizabeth slamming into the Divine Altar, and I hope she rips that thing to pieces. And there's a better picture of the Scratapult trying to catch up to the Scraplings. Not a bad idea. So we go into combat, and Elizabeth is able to do 2 wounds to the Divine Altar. Not my greatest rolling in the world. She takes no wounds in return. She wins this combat, it breaks, and she runs it the F down. It does not get away. She catches it and dismantles it horrifically, and I'm so pleased with her. But then that's it, guys. That's the end of the game. That's what the board looks like. And as you can see, it looks like a Greek tragedy. Yeah, panic really ate me up this game. But at the same time, piss poor tactics did too. I should have remembered that the great swords were going to be stubborn. Why I didn't is probably just because I got overexcited. That happens. Not a good reason, but a reason nonetheless. And yeah, in the end, just amazing shooting and just better tactics in the end, better setups, and better understanding of the rules. Yeah. But you know what, we'll get to the recap in a minute, because right now, this game is over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Well, as you saw, it was a defeat for Lord Tremendous. I got 1,083 out of him, he got 2,270 out of me, for a difference of 1,187. I lost Skaz, that treacherous bastard. Khan. Half points for Lord Tremendous. All of my tribesmen, my scraplings, my trappers, my Scratapult, Rufus, and the mercs. Oh, devastating. I gotta be honest, I'm taking the Scratapult as a way of dealing with rank and file infantry, but I'm not a fan of it. I'm really toying with bombardiers. In my next game, I play Ogre Khans, and there is a lot of bombardiers in there, so that actually helps me make my decision one way or the other. You'll see, it'll be out in a couple of days, 3, maybe 4 days, we'll see. The shooting in this list was spot on. Those seasoned handgunners were snipers, each and every one of them, and they earned their points in quadruple. It was amazing. Speaking of amazing, Elizabeth was really good. She was able to weather a lot of attacks, get a hold of the handgunners, and the Divine Altar. I like her kit. I like her with the Yetis. Lord Tremendous did great. My bait and switch tactic would have worked had I remembered that the damn greatsword guys were stubborn. Maybe I would have been better situated to go after them. Maybe I wouldn't have faced Lord Tremendous towards the swordsman. Maybe I would have faced him towards the greatswords. I don't know. I really don't know what I would have done. Jeez, I would like to think I would have done something more intelligent than give up my whole army. And speaking of that leadership fail, losing Skaz and his spazzes like that. First of all, that is exactly what Skaven and AZ would do to me. And if you're watching this, Skaven, you know I'm right. Do not try to deny it. You bastard. But, oh, true vermin courage. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and throw the spoiler out right now. Gnome Runner is working on a better model to represent Skaven and AZ, Skaz, in my army. I'm very much looking forward to it. I have no idea what it looks like, but I'm looking forward to seeing it and fielding it. So that'll be awesome. So, yeah, in my opinion, this game just proved that cannons do what cannons are supposed to do, and that's take out monsters. They don't do it in one round because, let's face it, they really shouldn't, but they do their job, which is killing monsters, and they mutilated Rufus. Had he had 2 cannons, Rufus would have been dead a lot sooner. So, yes, anybody who thinks that cannons don't work, well, I'm sorry. Every time I've seen a cannon, it does its job. I don't know. Maybe you just want them to be bad. I don't know. The Arcane Engine makes hitting quite difficult. You would think -1 to hit wouldn't be that big of a deal. I certainly did, and I was certainly wrong. The Arcane Engine is worth every last point you pay for it, and I don't know why you wouldn't take it. The handgunners, like I've said numerous times, were definitely on point, and holy crap, I have not given that unit enough hate. That will be remedied in the next game, I promise that. In fact, the next time I play the Empire, there will be no prisoners. It is either going to be a tabling for me or a tabling for him. No survivors on one end of the table or another. And I don't think my opponent will have a problem with that, because I think he's just about got my number. But yeah, this was a great game. This was a great opponent. He could have quit. He could have quit. It did look bleak for a minute there, and he didn't, and it turned into a slaughter for him. So, perseverance. You got to give the guy respect. And I'm definitely looking forward to getting revenge in our rematch. Should be a really good game. This one certainly was. Real quick before I sign off, I just want to say a big thank you to everyone that supports me on Patreon and PayPal and everything. These are the individuals that allow me to say thank you on the channel. Again, if you donate to me, or if you're donating currently from me or to me, and you want me to put something up on the battle report, please say the word. I'd be more than happy to do it. Alex of the Vale Renegades, South Florida's Gamermancy team, and Daniel Jolson, thank you guys so much. And thank you to all my silent contributors, Patreons, whatever you want to call yourselves, who I'm not allowed to thank properly. Really appreciate it, guys. I hope I'm still worthy. But yeah, guys, that's going to do it for this one. Battle Report number 31 is officially in the history books. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, feel free to put them in the comment section below, and I will get back to you as quick as I can. But yeah, guys, thanks.